So how's it going, Kalinda?
Good. I washed a car.
Yay!
And I am gonna get paid for it, I guess.
Ooh, yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah, you never answered my question the other day about whether or not you were going to get paid.
Yeah, I guess I'm getting money for it. So that's nice. I am so worried, though. As soon as I know that I'm gonna get money for something, I never feel like I've done a good enough job to be deemed worthy of payment. So I'm, really scared that I have not cleaned this truck nearly enough. But there were dead bugs and things, and even if I just get paid for that one dead bug, I will be so happy. Because it was big, and I did not like that.
Do you remember when I texted you about how I had a spider under an upside-down cup?
Yes!
And then I knocked over the cup, and the spider escaped?
That was horrifying!
And then it ran under my dresser.
That is seriously so scary.
Yeah, so it crawled out again.
Oh my god.
And I nabbed it under the cup. And I kicked it over again.
Ivy!
I'm kidding. I didn't.
Oh my god.
I took it outside.
Okay.
It's gone.
Oh my god.
But I managed to get it to cover it with the cup right in the middle of my doorway. So I was just constantly, the whole time that was still there, I was thinking, I'm just going to knock that over again because it's right in the way. But I didn't. It's gone.
Oh, thank God.
Another story, though, that I can't believe I didn't mention the other day. I have this iPod Nano that I've had for a long time. And mostly, the only thing on it is audiobooks. And I mean, it's not that special to me because, a lot of what I do with it, I can do with my phone or my iPad or something where I can keep audiobooks on there, right? So I was listening to an audiobook on it in the car, and then I went to the theater with my mom, and I had walked in kind of separately with my mom, and then I realized that I didn't have my Nano anymore. And then, a couple days later, I was like, where is it? I don't lose my things. Where did it go? And then I thought I just left it in the car, and then I checked the car twice over. It was gone, and I was like, oh no. But also kind of if I can't find it, it's not the end of the world. There's nothing on there that I can't get back. Then my mom drove to the theater that we went to, and when she came back, she held out her hand, and my iPod Nano was in her hand, and I was like, oh, where was it? And she told me it was on the ground in the parking lot of the theater.
That was going to be my guess.
In the parking lot.
Yeah.
That was a week after I lost it.
Oh my god.
And it's been raining here.
Oh my god.
And I was like, I can't believe nobody drove over it.
Yeah, seriously.
I can't believe it survived the weather.
It still works.
Yeah, it still works. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Hell yeah.
So that was a crazy story. Crazy for me. It's not something I'm gonna, make a movie about.
It'll be thrilling.
The story of how one girl lost her iPod Nano.
Okay, so today we are going to start reading a book called Alex Approximately by Jenn Bennett. So this book is basically a You've Got Mail retelling, and I am such a sucker for that.
Yes.
So if we're going to get into it, first there was The Shop Around the Corner with Jimmy Stewart, a landmark. I love it. It's one of the best films ever. And you sometimes think, you're like, oh, older films, black and white films, they just can't be as good a quality as, what we're used to now. And it really is good enough to withstand whatever time does to it, Yeah.
Time and space.
So it's a really good film. If you haven't seen a film, you should watch that film. And then there's a film with Judy Garland called In the Good Old Summertime. And, Shop Around the Corner was about a luggage store. Then The Good Old Summertime is a music shop store, and they're singing and dancing because they got Judy Garland.
Yeah.
And then the next one, obviously, is You've Got Mail with Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks. Cute AF, but technically, the plot that always centers around these stories are that these two people are pen pals, and they're already pen pals when the story begins, and then they meet each other at work. In You've Got Mail, they were business rivals within, different companies, but in the other ones, they're always working in the same shop.
Mm.
And they just get on each other's nerves. And, a few times they try to be like, why can't we just get along? I don't understand. Let's start over or something. But invariably, they hate each other. They just cannot get over it. So this book is a contemporary YA. I'm assuming that they're going to be in high school and not, business rivals.
Yes, we have not read this yet.
Neither of us have read this. We're going to give you a more specific synopsis to this story. I think there's going to be something going on with a film club. I think maybe they're going to meet each other through a film club, which is so appropriate because shop around the corner, duh.
What if they watch it?
Well, I mean, it's also kind of like when you read like Cinderella retellings and you're like, how did you miss that, that you're in a fairy tale? Official synopsis as read off of Goodreads.
Thanks, Goodreads.
The one guy Bailey Rydell can't stand is actually the boy of her dreams. She just doesn't know it yet. Okay, that blurb, can we just acknowledge, is kind of sad.
Oh, that's good.
Classic movie fan Bailey Mink Rydell has spent months crushing on a witty film geek she only knows online as Alex. Two coasts separate the teens until Bailey moves in with her dad, who lives in the same California surfing town as her online crush. Ooh, I live in a California surfing town.
Ooh, grr.
Faced with doubts, what if he's a creep in real life, or worse? Bailey doesn't tell Alex she's moved to his hometown, or that she's landed a job at the local tourist trap museum, or that she's being heckled daily by the irritatingly hot museum security guard Porter Roth, a.k.a. her new arch nemesis. But life is a whole lot messier than the movies, especially when Bailey discovers that tricky fine line between hate, love, and whatever it is she's starting to feel for Porter. And as the summer months go by, Bailey must choose whether to cling to a dreamy online fantasy in Alex or take a risk on the imperfect reality with Porter. The choice is both simpler and more complicated than she realizes because Porter Roth is hiding a secret of his own. Porter is Alex... ... approximately. Okay, so first of all, this premise totally spoils everything. I mean, I know that the 3 movies I just mentioned kind of spoiled the plot as well, but it's just that... So I guess they don't go to high school together. And they do work together. Yeah. And it's a summer job.
Yeah.
So they haven't entered high school. If they go to high school. I don't know.
I'm so excited for this.
Yeah, me too.
Such a sucker for this dynamic.
So this time we thought we might try something new with how we approach recording our episodes. Because we were finding that, like with Shadow and Bone, the first half we didn't have that much to say. But then the second half we had way too much to say. So... we were figuring that maybe we should try to read at the exact same time and then touch base when we felt we had something to talk about midway through our reading.
Yeah.
And so this episode will be kind of like an editing together of the different parts that we decide to touch back base with each other.
Yeah. So right now we're going to go read some and then come back. Talk some about the book, maybe even go read some a little bit more, come back, talk, and see where we end up. But we're going to try to be reading at the same time.
Yeah, I don't know if we can expect to finish the book.
No.
In this episode. I don't know. I mean, the thing is that I feel like once I start, though, I'm going to want to get through the whole thing.
Oh, I know.
So we'll see.
They have little chats at the start of every chapter, and I'm so into it.
Yeah, each chapter starts with a transcript of their messaging.
Oh, I love that stuff.
Yeah, so her alias is Mink, and his is Alex. I wonder why Alex, though.
And why approximately? Are there multiple people who are all Alex?
No, I think it's just because, like at least in, Shop Around the Corner and stuff, they show themselves completely differently in real life versus the way they show themselves on paper.
Yeah.
It's kind of cute to realize because, like, in Shop Around the Corner, Jimmy Stewart is, like, in love with this woman, right? Yeah. He's like, listen to the way that she writes, and so then he like reads out her letter, and it's this like really beautiful, existential, inspiring musing on life and pursuing happiness and stuff like that. And he's reading it to his colleague, and he's like, can you imagine how wonderful this woman is? Like she's a genius,
Yeah.
And then he meets her in real life, and she's gruff.
Yeah.
And she's angry, and she's not that hopeful woman, but she is, like, in her mind, but, like, interpersonally.
Yeah.
Not so much. So, I mean, maybe that's what they're getting at, is that, like, this Alex person online...
Showing a better side.
Well, showing, like an edited side.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Okay, we're gonna go. You stay right there.
Yeah, and I think we should also say probably that we wouldn't recommend listening to this podcast if you were intending to read the book. We will probably not be having a review section in this episode.
Nope.
We will just be talking about spoilers.
Yep.
Kind of like a live tweet situation.
Yep.
So we can save a review for a different episode, but right now it's pretty much all going to be spoilers.
So, good luck.
Yeah. Bye!
Bye. Welcome back. That was no time for you at all, but it was a few hours for us. We just finished chapter 5?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so first of all, as soon as we stopped recording a few hours ago, we read the first messages that they shared together, and then I turned the page and saw, like, the first chapter, and the first chapter, each chapter starts with a quote from a movie, and I was like, oh my god.
Which is just so prime.
Yes!
I've been liking all of them. I really liked the Mean Girls one.
Yeah.
Just made me laugh.
Well, any quotes from Mean Girls are A+.
Well, I really liked where we ended.
Why?
I thought it was so cute.
I forgot where we ended.
It was one of each of the 3 cookies that they had been talking about before that he left. And it sort of gave me these, like, little feels that he left, like, a little sorry note. And then, Ivy, go read the short little beginning of chapter 6, because it's so perfect.
I did.
You did?
What, is that the one where they're talking about young Frankenstein?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's the one that's like, I need cheering up. And I'm like, oh! And now they're going to cheer each other up. It's so cute. Right after he was like, sorry, but they don't know. But I still thought that was just so sweet, because I imagined them, you know, just like in their own separate homes, both feeling bad and watching a movie together.
It's funny because they're both feeling bad because of each other.
I know!
And then they find solace in each other.
I know! That was what I thought was just so cute. I was like, oh my god, that's so sweet. I love it so much.
Okay, well, you jumped on what we just last read, but I kind of want to backtrack.
Oh, no, absolutely do. I have plenty there. I have so many theories about where this is.
Okay, I was just going to say it's clearly in Santa Cruz.
Thank you! Okay, I have so many notes about it, too. Okay, because first of all, I looked up Coronado Cove. Of course.
Me too, it's in Florida.
I know, it's not a place. So I was like, okay, it does not exist. Also,
I like how we both did this, and I was honestly trying to restrain myself when, like, when that became apparent, where I was like, should I text her and be like, don't you just love how this takes place in Santa Cruz?
I'm like, well, growing up in Monterey, and then reading this, where they're like, it's between San Francisco and Big Sur, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Do you realize how large of a swath of land that is?
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, that could have been any of the 3 places that I've lived.
I'm like,
between those areas.
That is not as small of an area as you make it seem. They could have mentioned, like, Carmel or Monterey, that it was, like, between...
Especially because it was, like, Coronado Cove. I kept on thinking it rhymed with Pacific Grove, but it's not.
Oh, no. It's totally...
It's so Santa Cruz.
I know. So I wrote, hashtag California girl, because it was bothering me so much that I'm from here and this person is not from here. They're trying to write about it. And I was like, so they mentioned the Redwood Forest. So
what
I was
thinking
mean? Santa Cruz-ish.
Wait.
What? Sorry.
Stop. What do you mean they're not from here?
Just the way, I don't know. It's like, well, I went to school in Santa Cruz. Like, I lived there for 5 years. So if they're trying to emulate Santa Cruz, it's not quite perfect. But then if they're just trying to emulate that area in general, not everywhere has redwood forests. And there's...
Well, I mean, it's a hypothetical place.
Yeah.
Yes. But I am also kind of like, there was that part where Porter says all that stuff, and then the main character is like, I didn't really understand all of the things he was saying, but I got the gist. And I was like...
That West Coast D!
Yeah. Exactly.
I loved
And so,
it.
I mean, for me, that was kind of like, wow, I wonder, what's the backstory of this author, where she recognizes what's distinctly West Coast and what doesn't exist outside of it.
I know. Well, just the character herself, how put together she is in her clothing style and all of that, I'm like, okay, that's so East Coast.
Yeah.
The clean cut, all of that. Like,
my cousin who grew up in Boston, she's the kind of person who would be so, like, clean cut and together. Right? But I mean, also the other thing is that this character, Bailey, is super influenced by old film, right? She's dressing inspired by that.
Oh, yeah. The whole thing.
Yeah.
So I'm still trying to figure out maybe where this is. This is all like chapter 1 that I have this feeling. And she says, for the love of slugs. And I'm just goes, banana slugs? So you're in Santa Cruz! Like, I'm proving my theories.
Also, just like, dude, living on Highway 1.
Yeah.
We totally know the whole, you know, surfers trying to cross the freeway.
Oh, God, yeah.
Like, I mean, it's a highway, technically, but it's like, they just do it. I mean, they don't, like, I don't have them kind of running right out in front of me.
I was thinking of Carmel. And the hullabaloo and, like, tourist chaos that it is to try to drive through Carmel. And people stepping out in front of your car. And I'm like, that is literally so realistic.
Oh. Yeah, but definitely, like, on this coast, where I am where I live right now, it is a surfer place. I mean, it's not Santa Cruz, but it's a surfer place. And people always stop, and then they have to cross Highway 1. Because Highway 1 is literally, like, oh my god, it's like 30 feet from the water.
Yeah. And
I remember one time trying to cross that road, and I just ran right out, and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. It is a thing, though, because, like, how else are you gonna get there? There's no, like, parking areas on the beach side.
I mean, yeah, no.
And also that whole, like, sun-kissed hair, you know, how... that just brings me right back. That I know so many guys who would have that kind of, like, sun-bleached brunette hair, you know?
Yeah. No, I can picture that very clearly. But another thing, did you catch the names of the people that used to own the mansion where she's working?
Vivian, yeah, okay, so first of all, the thing with the mansion, I was again kind of like, don't we have something exactly like that here? But I wasn't quite sure. Jay and Vivian... what was their last name?
Davenport!
Yes, okay, Davenport.
Their last
that
name
was
is
it.
Davenport!
It stood out. I was like, I know a street named Davenport.
There's literally the town Davenport that is just north of Santa Cruz.
Yes. Okay, it's not a street. It is the town. It's that town where, like, you have to slow down on the highway, right?
Yeah, where it's up on the top of the hill, and they have, like, the train that is right there that's, like, train museum or whatnot, and I'm like, are you kidding me? So it's Santa Cruz. Like, I'm dying.
The name Davenport did stand out to me. I was like, oh, I remember seeing that on a drive through Santa Cruz.
So I thought that was so good. So I'm seeing all these little allusions, and I'm like, oh my god, it's Santa Cruz. Even the way that they're talking about the boardwalk and
the Ferris wheel, and then the people being lifted in chairs.
Yeah.
Like, if that's not quintessentially Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk.
I know, they were saying they go onto the cliffs or whatever, but there are cliffs. That East Cliff Drive is right on the other side of the river from where the boardwalk is. When she was saying cliffs at the end of the boardwalk, I'm like, I'm literally picturing what feels like home. It's so good.
The first movie they allude to, or the movie that they're gonna, meet up at, hypothetically, is North by Northwest.
Yeah.
And I love how, like, and I know North by Northwest, and then it wasn't until the author pointed it out that it was a thriller of mistaken identity. I was like, holy shit. I see what you did there. I can't believe I didn't see it sooner.
It's good. It's good.
But I also made me realize for some reason that this is the third anonymous pen pal love story that I've read this year. In the last 4 months.
Oh my god. That's a lot. What were the other books that you read?
Geekerella was like that by Ashley Poston. And the first book I read this year was Simon versus the Homo sapiens Agenda.
Oh, is that also like this?
Yeah, because the point is that he has this pen pal relationship with somebody named Blue. I don't think it is sort of like him realizing he's gay at the same time, but I think it's just because he didn't really have to confront it before, and so his pen pal relationship with this guy, it's probably not like the first time he's ever thought about it or the first time he thought that he was gay, it wasn't like he just didn't know before, but I think it's the first time he has to actually, like, consider that there's something worth coming out for.
Oh, yeah.
That, like, he never had to confront his sexuality before. So, like, that's kind of what Simon versus Homo sapiens agenda kind of... Yeah, so he has this anonymous pen pal relationship with this character named Blue. And then he... Oh, that one is a good one. Like, would recommend. It's just pure smiles all the way. Except when it's not, obviously, when there's conflict. But generally, smiles out the wazoo.
Yeah. I was surprised at just how nasty their confrontations in this book are.
Okay, I really appreciate how the confrontations are going, not in that I like them, I hate them, but that they're so true to how it feels when you meet someone who you just, for no reason at all,
just pushes your buttons.
Yeah, like they're not a bad person, they don't mean to upset you, but they just... everything rubs you the wrong way, and they put you in situations that you're like, I literally don't know how to be in this situation, and you forced me into this hole, and it's just so infuriating. But then at the same time, because now I've had interactions like this, I haven't had relationships with people who do that to me, because I'm just like, we just don't get along. And there's nothing against you, but we just don't get along. So, like, I'm kind of thinking, like, how can they be happy together if they're those type of people?
I know.
Because that's the kind of stuff that would, you know, like, maybe on paper you get along and then you meet and it doesn't work out, and that's exactly when you end the relationship. That's the reason why it wouldn't work out.
Yeah.
You know?
It also kind of seems, though, like she does have, like, that there was this thing that happened 4 years ago, and she has a lot of anxiety about... now, just like in general, it seems, and has this avoidance thing that she's used to using that avoidance. But my guess is that through this story, she's going to have to learn how to not avoid certain things when they start to bug her, to like actually start talking about them rather than letting them escalate. Because what happens when she avoids is that the situation just escalates from there, rather than saying something about being uncomfortable or giving a flippant answer or something. She doesn't want to do that. She just wants to avoid. So it all ends up sort of doing this spiral thing. So my guess is, something's going to have to come from that.
With both of them, I'm sensing a trademark traumatic backstory.
Yeah.
That, like, we don't know what happened to him or how he got his scar, Frankenstein style.
I'm just imagining Shark.
I feel like it would way more likely be some... they got caught in bad waves. Because, I mean, how many shark attacks really happen? I feel like, especially where they are, I mean, if it's in a hypothetical Santa Cruz, then some of the biggest waves in the world are just an hour's drive north. So, like, and those are really dangerous. And it wouldn't surprise me if, being, like, big, famous surfers, they would be in a competition or something like they do when the waves get really high. So, like... I'm thinking, yeah, she probably, and she hides it well, though, because we don't feel like, she's a broken, wilted flower or whatever, but she just has certain coping mechanisms that make her socially non-compatible with certain people, right? But
yeah.
My theory is that she was abducted.
Yeah, that was also my theory.
But I don't know, because the thing is that she has a problem with being asked questions. I don't know. I mean... because she would have been 14 when it happened, right? But it's just kind of like... I'm wondering if her avoidance of questions has to do with whatever happened. Like, specifically, if there was something about being asked questions kind of got her into trouble or whatever. Or that's just a random manifestation of it. Yeah. I do like him, though.
I do, too.
Good banter going on. I like the way he talks. And I like...
Yeah.
I'm so appreciative of how, like...
he's very forward.
I think it's distinctly Bay Area, West Coast. It doesn't really, like, capture an atmosphere, but I like how it's constantly reminding me about places. Like,
yeah.
And then when she said, like, oh, I just have to find a shop that faces the water, that's gonna be hard, alright, fine. But I know that there's a lazy cat who hangs around and a churro cart, and I'm like, that doesn't help you anymore either. Do you know how many flippin' cats there are?
It doesn't.
Do you know how many churro carts there are? It's not gonna do diddly squat.
And as she realizes there are churro carts everywhere. But that is definitely, I think she found the spot because, penny boards And if that's Alex's, what was it?
Yeah.
Pennywise or something?
Something
for his grandfather. And if he's constantly smelling like the beach, even if he's not going surfing, I would assume being in a surf shop, you have that smell. Hashtag like walking into O'Neill's ever. Or PacSun. Or so many places. Yeah.
I really hope that the Davenport mansion will have some kind of spooky night prowling. Like, I hope that they'll find out about some urban legend and then get stuck in there in the middle of the night or something. And then they'll be like, oh my god, what was that? Like, I would love that.
Did you like the almost like Hunger Games illusion when they lose employees putting the pictures up in the night sky?
I didn't get that. At all. I just glazed right over that. But I did notice that. I was like, did I understand that sentence? Do I care? I'm gonna keep going. Okay, when he starts doing the quiz.
Oh, yeah. That was hilarious.
And then when he starts making up the question.
And you can tell that she is immediately defensive and doesn't want to get into it. And he's like, and he just doesn't care.
I don't think he doesn't care. I think that he's trying to get her to do something. He really wants to know the answer. And, like, he can see that she's resisting, but he's trying to get her to finally answer the question. And, I mean, obviously there are other, like, elements of conversation and dynamics that are pressing on her so that she feels bad, and it's making it, you know, it's really not productive. I don't think he gets that, you know? I think that he's just like, if I keep asking...
He's just stubborn and won't let go.
I think he's into her. And I think he was looking at her legs and then noticed her shoes were different colors, not the other way around.
Yeah!
But I thought that was funny, too. Thing is, I know that I have been like her before, where I've been in situations where I'm uncomfortable and then I just shut down. Or also, I don't know, it probably depends on, like, different points in my life. I would respond differently to somebody like Porter, but I feel like now I would love somebody like Porter. Somebody making fun of me the way that Porter makes fun of Bailey, I would think is hilarious. Because, obviously, I couldn't have been friends with Taku if I wasn't okay with that shit. Like,
hey, shout out Taku.
Every joke was at someone's expense. Sometimes him, but...
Oh, yeah.
I still remember the time when he mimicked your laugh. And
oh, yeah!
That was
the one I was gonna talk about! Because I think about it every time I hear my laugh, man! I can't not hear it! I have the worst laugh!
That's something about his jokes that are so good. It's like, they're about things that you did not even notice before, but then they are so spot on.
It gets you real quick to not take yourself so seriously.
I remember one time I was sitting on a bench and then Ricky sat down to talk to me and then he got up to leave and then I tried...
Shout out Ricky.
Yeah, shout out Ricky. And then I tried to trip him as he walked in front of me, but he just kept pulling and then I fell off the bench. Instead...
Backfire.
But it was like a slow kind of collapse because I kept on trying to get him, but he was, you know, had better leverage. And then I just slowly, like, I fell onto the bench and then I fell onto the ground and he still had my leg and, I don't know, you know, just sprawled all over the place. And then Ricky left and then Abby and Taku walked over and they were like, we just saw all of that.
Damn it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Abby, fine. Taku, you'll never hear the end of it.
Oh, no, you never will, man. Love those kids.
Anyways, yeah, I think he's great. I think it's hilarious that he pointed out her shoes were different colors.
Oh, God. I would be, though, granted, it's true, I would be mortified were I in that situation. To feel, like, so frustrated, to try to, like, have the confidence to stand up and say no and being stubborn and then just be shot down in, like, 3 different ways all at once.
I mean, the thing is...
I would, oh my god.
She is holding on to her dignity a little bit too hard, you know? Like, as soon as... Because, like, maybe she's like, oh god, I hope he doesn't remember that I screamed, right? But then as soon as he alludes to it, I think you're done. It's over. You know, you just give up.
You got no hope. A line that I really liked was when her dad was saying, like, it's gonna be okay, because she's saying she does not want to go back. She's like, I want to quit work. Like, I don't want to do this. And there's a line where he said something flabbergasted that she could be so bent out of shape about taking money from strangers. Also, when she's like, winks. Actually winks. Who does that?
Yeah, I actually don't even get the wink in that context. I didn't feel like it was quite right.
A slow smile that was,
too sexy
like,
for a boy our age.
For anyone their age.
Yeah.
He has, a bit of scruff kind of beard going on that he totally trims to keep nice. And who is this man?
I like this line that's like describing the boardwalk. It's half like this. Laid back California vibe, skaters, sidewalk art, comic book shops, organic tea, seagulls, and half this. Bad 1980s music blasting through tinny speakers, schlocky tilt-a-whirls, bells dinging, kids crying, cheap t-shirt shops, overflowing trash cans. I'm like, yes.
Honestly, seagulls should be in both those categories because, like, seagulls, but, like, seagulls?
Yeah.
So,
when I went back to Pacific Grove, I realized, the beach is beautiful, in many different, views. But in Pacific Grove, the beach is dope, all right? And the seagulls there are very different from seagulls in Santa Cruz. Might just be because of the heat, But seagulls, when it's hot, are not cool. Seagulls in Pacific Grove, their cacaws echo in this really awesome way there.
Oh, yeah.
Just something about the acoustics of that bay. It's just, it makes it sound so like, oh my
The acoustics of that whole town, man, as soon as you get into, like, downtown Monterey, it's weird.
Yeah.
How even? Who knows? At one point in one of their text conversations, he says, like, deal. For you, I'll be 100% my oatmeal-hating cookie self or whatever. But why is it at any time when someone says, for you, that it's just it's immediately intimate? It's like, you don't say that if you're not flirting, I feel.
I don't know what flirting is.
It makes you feel special. Because it means, very specifically, for you. Not for anyone else, but for you. For you, anything. There's something about that that's, like, so sweet and intimate. I love it. Well, because you were talking about scam.
Yeah.
And that text conversation.
Yeah, but that's because it's scam, all right?
Where you said the same
but
thing.
I'm trying to think of, I don't know if anybody's ever said that to me in person. Or, to me. I mean, that's not to say that I don't think that people, show different sides to different people and that I may have seen a specific side to a person and been, the only one. It's not like I haven't felt that kind of vibe going on, but I don't have personal experience with the things you're talking about, so no.
Well, yeah, because it's one thing to know that you're getting that, but it's another thing to have the other person want you to know that you're getting this special treatment, or that you're seeing some part of them that not everyone else sees. I keep fanning myself. Because I'm like, oh, this story's so good, but also I am burning. I'm sweating. It's a good time.
It's just like Santa Cruz.
In the summer, yeah.
I mean, this takes place in the summer.
I love the idea of the porch.
Oh, yeah. And, the idea of a tree growing through a porch, I'm like, yeah, I've seen that. That makes sense. I know exactly what that is. I was going to ask you if you have seen The Shop Around the Corner.
I have not.
Have you seen North by Northwest?
I don't believe so.
Have you seen Roman Holiday?
No.
Girl.
Maybe I've seen some clips of some of those, because anytime they were on TV, when my mom was watching them, I would always love to watch the old black and white Cary Grant movies, Gene Kelly kind of stuff. But I often, wouldn't come in at the very beginning, so I didn't know the name of whatever it was we were watching. So I've seen some old black and white movies, but I don't know which ones, really. And I do want to see more.
Well, maybe after we finish this book, we should watch The Shop Around the Corner.
Oh my god, yes. And then do a podcast on it. Yes, girl.
Okay, well, we should probably end this so that we can get back.
Yeah. Okay, so we're getting ready to start chapter 6 now.
Yeah.
We will be back with some more updates.
Ayo!
So we read through chapter 11 and then recorded, and then my computer froze and we lost it all. So here we are again.
Hooray for Kalinda's computer.
Kill me.
Well, okay, so what did we talk about? I can't even remember.
A lot of it was just my love for their chemistry and their banter, and like the weird nose-touching moment, and her tackle.
Yeah, okay, so...
Their little hand-hold awkward high-five.
Oh, so cute, honestly. I love it. Like, the thing is, it's probably, like, for me, such a self-insertion, because we were just talking about how many of the things that Bailey does are similar to, like, how I handle certain situations when I'm uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
And that it's not that she's, like, really that shy or really that disliking of people in general. It's this, that she has this kind of defensive mode that kind of makes her seem rude.
Yes. Shy versus defensive. And how there's, like, not always a very clear difference when you're looking from inside the mind. And so, like, when you're reading someone's texts and the way they describe themselves, there's not always a clear distinction. But, like, seeing them in person and the way that they handle the situations when you're with them, there seems to be more distinction between just, you know, oh, no, it's fine, versus, like, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Because you're, like, freaking out inside.
Yeah, especially because, like, the response time and, like, how many other things are going on other than just words and language in that kind of a situation.
Yeah.
Facial expression, body language, tone, and all that shit. But for me, like, talking about how good their chemistry is, you keep on talking about that, but I just keep on thinking, no, it's just because Porter's great. I don't care about her. And it's probably because Porter is, like, totally my type of person.
I mean, he's got all this Polynesian Chinese heritage.
So yeah, so we found out that Porter is Hapa, which was something very rude to keep hidden for so long, honestly.
Beautiful man. I know he's a character in a book, but beautiful man.
Yeah. This is like my other friend who was saying something like, no, this character is more attractive. And I was like, what the hell? Like, they're canonically attractive. Like, you can't say one lead male in this book is more attractive than another lead male in another book, because they're all described as being good looking. But then she was, like, explaining it to me and being like, no, it's like, I don't even remember her explanation, because...
Good story. We're getting off to a good start.
Oh, God, okay, anyways. But just that, like, different characters... based on their personality or, like, you know, how they go. I don't know. I don't know. But for me, it's a big deal if a character's Hapa, because that is good looking. But we were also talking about, like, oh, God, I had just thought of it, and I got distracted by how good looking.
This man must be. I could so clearly picture, like, the scarf and the way that she would do it, even when she was describing getting a scarf, as, like, the pinup. Like, the woman on the cover of the You Can Do It holding her bicep. Who was that? Rosie the Riveter?
Yeah.
I could...
Also, you know that, like, pinup doesn't mean she pinned it up.
I mean, she did put up her hair. Just the fact that I was imagining the bow at the top.
Okay, wait, what do you mean by pinup, though?
It was her own words.
Yeah, she said pinup. Do you know what that means?
Nothing other than, like, what I imagine on the posters when they say pinup dolls.
Pinup dolls?
Yes.
Wait.
Am I just off the beaten track here?
No, pinup as in, like, they'd pin up pictures of, like, attractively clad women. Those were pinup girls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what, yes. She's always wearing dresses, which I don't realize until she starts talking about the fact that you can see her knees. When she scraped her knee, and then when she had the scabs on her knee, I'm like, she's wearing a dress?
I'm imagining her trying to tackle somebody in a skirt.
That whole scene was just on point. Him calling her no stronger than a tater tot. A+. And the quiz? We were talking about this before.
Oh yeah, that's not a friendship quiz.
No, that's a relationship quiz. That he's just trying to hide the fact that it's a relationship quiz because he's into her.
Yeah, but then he totally, like, spilled the beans at the end of the chapter, let's face it.
Oh yeah, telling her she was sexy as hell. So good. Yeah, we talked a bit about the whole fiasco with Patrick.
Oh yeah, okay, can I reiterate? Just because I said it last time, I'm gonna say it again. when they are having their, like, walk to the video shop, I had texted you.
Yeah.
And I had said, oh my god, I'm so embarrassed for her. And that was just when, like, their dialogue was going all south and she knew it was going badly. I was like, oh, this is awkward. I feel secondhand embarrassment. And then when she finds out that he's actually gay and he's got a boyfriend in Guatemala, and her response is just to plant herself back on her heels and just absorb that. No response. I was like, oh, I feel really embarrassed for her now. But honestly, at a point in their conversation, he's like trying to say, oh, you should check out basically like these gangster films. She's like, oh no, I don't do guns. Then he says, oh, one of those, huh? He holds up both hands. Hey, whatever you're into is fine. No argument for me. I just think film is film and that you shouldn't paste your political views onto a piece of art. I was like, run in the opposite direction, girl. Get away. He, like, no. Plus, like, how can you say that art isn't inherently political? Like, film doesn't inherently have some kind of, like, political message. I mean, it has a message, and it's just art. Like, what? Paste your political views onto a piece of art?
Like, that's what art is.
What do you think the Statue of Liberty is?
There was something about a moment that happened just after that made me think of you so clearly, which is that, or she tries to, you know, like, reel it back in to not get, like, super defensive and say that, you know, like, well, I had, you know, bad experience, and so I had a bad experience with guns or something. And he puts his hand on her shoulder, but it's just the fingertips, and the pity that was in that exchange made me think of you so hard, and I was just like, don't. What is he doing? This is just all wrong. Well,
I mean, that was actually another thing that I was going to talk about why I kind of feel like maybe I'm inserting myself because I like Porter more than I like her, because I don't really care about her. I just think Porter's great. And it's, again, because of, like, how he's really good at physical touch.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I think you're right. That physical touch on Patrick's side was just the wrong usage. Whereas, like...
Well, and it was awkward, and it was that pity moment. It's like, it wasn't like she said it for pity. Yeah.
But just that, like, Porter is doing everything right, though. Like, the tugging on the sleeve.
Oh, it's so cute.
The high five. That is a good... That's like a hand hug, you know? That's like, your hands are hugging. This was, like, around college or something, but, like, people I know were getting in good with, like, the, like, palms to palm, but I don't have the thumb on the right side.
You're trying to do it, and you're just inherently gonna create, like, an awkward turtle.
Yeah.
It's not really working, but I understand.
Isn't this awkward turtle?
Yes, but I understand what you're talking about.
Yeah. Anyways, people I knew for a certain period were like, oh, this is so comforting. They'd hold up their hands and then wrap the thumb around the other hand.
Oh, yeah.
And then they'd be like, oh, it's like our hands are hugging. It's like, oh my god, why can't you just interlace your fingers like normal human beings? It would be way more comfortable.
I had a friend where we would do that. Okay, preface this with 90% of the time that I saw this friend, we were drunk at a house party. And we would do that, and then we would touch foreheads.
Oh my god!
So we would have,
that's like an alien greeting.
So we would have, like, the hand hug, and while our hands were doing the hug, then we would touch foreheads. It just happened one time, and then suddenly became the way that we greeted each other from then on out for, like, years.
I feel like that's how aliens kiss.
Oh my gosh, I went to Comic-Con in San Jose.
Oh yeah, you didn't even tell me about how that was.
Yeah, it was a tiny little one, but probably my favorite moment from that was that there were two people in cosplay that were there from, oh my god, what's the name of the movie? It's got Sigourney Weaver?
Alien?
No.
Avatar?
No, it's the comedy where they're basically, like, Star Trek characters.
Oh, yes. Galaxy Quest.
Yes! Galaxy Quest. And so there were two people that were dressed as the male and female main aliens from that, and they were walking around doing the arm things out in front of them, like they're like they're marionettes, right? Walking around with smiles on their faces, nodding to everyone, and it was fucking hilarious. I couldn't contain myself. That was the highlight from Comic-Con for me. I mean, the art was great, and there was some other good cosplay, but, like, just catching them in the crowd while they're, like, trying to walk through. Yeah. Sorry, we got to there because you were talking about hand hugs, because we were talking about aliens, and we were talking about touch, and the friendship quiz, and I like your style, it's sexy. Oh my god. Boy.
In our last recording, we talked about whether or not Porter knows who she is.
Yeah. I feel like she's not doing a very good job to hide it.
Yeah, so, like, we were talking about how she is being really transparent about her interests. And Porter, like it's so clear that she's as much of a film nerd as Mink is because she's making reference all over the place. I mean, she flippin' dresses like them. I mean,
yeah.
That's, I think, the biggest giveaway. She's clearly dressing inspired by old film.
Oh, yeah. Well, and if he heard any of the conversation between her and Patrick in the store, he's gotta know, her tastes, because they went through, like, the whole section.
Yeah, but we don't know how long he was eavesdropping like a nerd.
Well, he also claimed to be there before she got there.
Yeah.
So, well...
Oh, I didn't think of that.
So, anyway.
But what we were saying was that maybe he knows. I didn't think that he knows.
Yeah.
Because he has no reason to expect her to be there. He thinks that she's still on the other side. Like, if he was dropping as many clues as she was, she would have picked up on it. Because she's already looking for him. He doesn't even know to look for her.
Yeah, it's true.
But we were talking about how, like, in the original story, Shop Around the Corner.
Yes.
Halfway through the storyline, the pen pals plan to meet. And she's gonna show up with a red carnation. And they're gonna recognize each other because they're both holding red carnations. And he's running a little late and he's really nervous and he brings a friend and he's like not sure if he's going to walk in. He doesn't know. He doesn't want to ruin it between them and everything. So he has his friend walk up to the window to see how she is. And like in You've Got Mail, Tom Hanks, he says something like along the lines of like, if she's not the most hideous thing ever, there's no reason why he shouldn't walk right in and marry her.
Wow.
Because he's so into her. And so, like, the friend walks up to the window and says, like, oh, I see her. Red carnation. Yeah. And then, the guy's like, so how does she look? Like, what does she seem like? And he's like, she's kind of got the same coloring as, our friend, that girl, and
that you hate.
That you hate. And then he's like, oh, what are you bringing up her for? I don't want to talk about her. Like, what's this girl like? And then the friend's like, well, if you don't like the way that person looks, you're not gonna like the way this person looks, because it's the same person.
Yeah.
And so then he decides to go in, but he drops the carnation. And so he goes in and confronts her as, like, himself, as she knows him in real life, right?
Yeah.
Not as the pen pal. And so he knows who it is, but she doesn't. So she's in the dark for longer than he is. So I don't know how they're going to play it in this, where we're going to find out that at a certain point, he always knew.
Yeah.
At a certain point, he always. That's not right. But just that
Good.
After a certain
Solid
point,
words.
he knew exactly who she was. I don't know, though, if the whole Patrick and her interchange was enough. Even if he did overhear it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe not, but I think he might have enough to piece together, at least clue-wise, with the mom still on the East Coast. She's come to live with her dad in the town. He might pick up on it before she does, at the least.
Except that she never told him that she was going to move to her dad's place. It's not just that she didn't tell him that she was coming. It's just that she always stated it as a hypothetical summer visit, rather than the fact that she's actually moved to town.
That's true.
I want to see it as a movie, honestly. I can't. I mean, it's got so much movie in it. I want to see her costume, I want to see her hairstyle. I want to see his face.
Yeah, I can picture that scarf so easily. In the hot box. So there's a line where she's talking about watching out for herself or something. It's in their text conversation around, I think, chapter 7 or 8 maybe. And she says that, watching after herself is a full-time job. And so he says, one day you might need some help. And I was like, so cute.
They have a lot of cute lines.
I know.
I just love him.
Tater tot, hot stuff.
Yeah, he talks like a Californian.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe not even that, just like a high school boy. Like, I like how imaginative certain people can get with language. Who has ever heard of somebody being described as a tater tot? It's gonna be a thing I do now.
The horoscope thing, she's trying to, drop hints and all this weird stuff.
She's really bad at it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know why she would have... Honest to goodness, the hints that she dropped to Patrick under the assumption that he might be Alex, I was like, honestly, I don't think this is enough.
No, those are not hints.
They might be hints if you told him you were in fucking town.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
it's not enough.
He's never gonna look for you in his hometown if he thinks that you're still on the West Coast. I mean, East Coast.
Yeah. Yeah, the horoscope line. I would love when they'd end up, he was like, good, give me some advice, because I feel like I really need it right now. Like, I don't know what's going on. And so she gives the horoscope advice or whatever, thinking maybe she's talking to Patrick. Mm-hmm. The way that she's trying to drop hints and stuff. But on this end, knowing that it's Porter and, reading some of that stuff. I like reading those text conversations from Porter's perspective, too. Because I just think it's so funny that he's...
Because the messages between them are the only insight into Porter that we get.
Yeah.
I kind of wish that we got a back and forth perspective, because I have so much... why is it only told from her perspective? And why... I have questions that I want to know about Porter. I mean, maybe... I guess you can only do that if you're going to, solidly go 50-50. And maybe I don't want 50-50... But I do want, a little bit of insight into Porter. Just to kind of know where he's at with all this. Because, what's he thinking? He's clearly into Bailey. But what does that mean? Because Bailey's she's into Porter, but reluctantly so. Because she's looking for Alex. Whereas, Porter, it almost seems like, he's surprised at how into Bailey he is. But... how does he feel then about that paired with his feelings for Mink,
Yeah.
So, when he F's up with Bailey on their first day, right? Hearing him say, oh, I need a pick-me-up or something, it's us getting that, wow, he really senses that was a dick move.
Oh.
And that he feels bad about everything that happened. But I wish that we got a little bit more so that I could understand where he's coming from with this.
Yeah.
But I don't need, his whole internal monologue for every step of the way.
Yeah.
Maybe just, if we uncovered a journal.
Just a little something.
If he wrote an extended letter to her instead of just the little messages back and forth. Yeah, so now we're going to start chapter 12, and probably when we meet up again, we will have completed the whole book.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the next step.
I think this was cool, but it is hard to make it happen the way that we did it today.
Yeah.
Especially for a whole book, because I just want to read straight through, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Ivy, thanks for hanging out with me.
Ditto.
And thank you, listeners, for hanging out with us. We will see y'all next time.